Ms. Park, we're live on YouTube. You may call the meeting to order.
Good evening. This meeting of the Board of Building Code Appeals is called to order at 6:04 p.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind the board members of some procedural items for this meeting. During the meeting, participants should remain muted when not speaking. If board members or participants have a question or a comment, please use the raise hand feature. Speakers will be called upon to speak one at a time. A random order voice vote will be administered by city staff for each vote. The board meeting is being conducted utilizing teleconferencing and electronic means consistent with the State of California Executive Order N2920 and N821 regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. Members of the public may provide audio public comment by connecting to the teleconference meeting online or by telephone. Use the raise hand feature to request to speak or *9 on a telephone. Teleconference meeting details are available on the Board of Building Code Appeals agenda. Captions are available to viewers accessing this meeting via Zoom. Captions can be displayed or hidden using live transcript button in Zoom. Comments on matters not on the agenda must be submitted prior to the time I call the item for oral communications. Comments on agenda items must be submitted prior to the time I close the public hearing on the agenda item. Speakers are requested to keep their comments to no more than 3 minutes, and time limits will be enforced. Guidelines are posted on the Board of Building Code Appeals meeting agenda. Roll call. Board member Jane.
Yes, present.
Board member Kroll.
Present.
Board member McNutt.
Present.
Board member Shen.
Board Member Shen, it appears we've lost your audio. We'll move on. We'll
Okay.
let the record show that Board Member Shen is present.
Okay. And then Board member Pobby is absent.
Board Member Pobby has joined us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Board Member Pobby?
Hello. Yes, I have joined.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
5 board members are present participating via teleconference. Thank you. The next up is a presentation from Vincent Anderson, Civilian Fire Marshal.
Sure. Good evening, everyone in audience. My name is Vince Anderson. I serve as Fire Marshal with the Department of Public Safety. Humbly honored to present with the board here, and just wanted to quickly introduce myself. My last post was with City of Redlands down in Southern California, and back in August, I had a chance to join our Sunnyvale team up here. So my fire prevention group, we are some of building department's closest allies. So it's really an awesome opportunity to work with Suzanne and her team. And we're one of the most faceted work groups in the city. So on the front side of developments, we're working with the Development Review Committee, PRCs, planning, conditional use permits. On that side of it, we'll work with the contractors and the actual teams in the field for fire protection system installations, verifying egress. So great, we've got our design, verify that they're installed per plan, and just as needed. That's my first group with the fire protection engineers. Then we pass the baton to our fire prevention inspectors. They take care of the buildings from really for the lifetime, as long as they're standing, with our compliance with our state mandated inspections that State Fire Marshal and Health and Safety Code require us to do, as well as occupancies that we use the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA 1730, and Life Safety Code as industry standards to really go above and beyond and keep Sunnyvale as really as safe as possible in our unique public safety model with integrated police, fire, and EMS. We're the largest agency in California that does it, and really, I believe west of the Mississippi was the last our motto was reading. But with building buildings, per code, giving them all the required features, and then making sure that's maintained over the life of the building, it protects our businesses, our residents, our community, and our economic engine. So with that said, real privileged to speak in front of the board tonight, and happy for entertaining any questions you may have. Sure, I'll Suzanne, do you want to call speakers?
Board
Yeah,
Member
they
Shen?
have. Sorry.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. Your fire code, do you also jurisdiction cover the natural gas line?
We would not, like, as far as like transmission gas lines from a storage facility to like use and processing, that type gas line, we would not. So those are typically our we'll work closely with the regulators, and state fire marshal actually takes lead for that. So it's kind of one of those where we run parallel with. But as far as any jurisdiction, not so much. But that is one of the really well regulated industries, in the sense of it's almost on a monthly basis. The natural gas or the petroleum pipeline industry is pushing out publications, and hey, this is where these pipelines run in your neighborhood. So it really helps us, be prepared for, we all hope the bad days never happen, but when they do, we've got a page in the playbook to pull from.
Thank you.
Board Member McNutt?
Oh, sorry, I dropped the hand. Thank you, Marshal Anderson, and I appreciate your service. I was actually going to ask a similar question about natural gas distribution, so you answered it. Thank you.
Board Member Jane?
Yeah, so my question was, how is the certificate inspection process any different from adjoining cities, or is it similar? What you guys follow?
Sure, very similar. So a quick synopsis. So there's right around 5 or 6, we call them occupancy types, and being the building code appeals board here. In California, so state fire marshal and through health and safety code requires our apartments, hotels, motels, jails, high rises, and schools K through 12 to be inspected every year by the local fire authority. So fire department lives in Department of Public Safety or Fire Bureau for Sunnyvale. So we work through so across California, those are all required to be inspected. That we're pretty synonymous with all of our neighbors. Now, where I take a lot of pride in my team is we take it a step further. And the industry standard is National Fire Protection Standard 1730 that will NFPA 1, their version of fire code, and comes with recommended frequencies, because past that, it's really up to each jurisdiction of how often you visit buildings, how you do your inspections, how you requalified staff. But a lot of my policies and just research, I really try and stay grounded in a common sense approach, and just saying for these policies and recommendations and industry standards to make it through a committee process and be vetted by some of the best in the country, well, that sure sounds like a good idea to follow. So with that, I do want to say we're a little a shade above our colleagues. We work closely with them. It's I want to say a friendly competition in that sense. But actually, it's going to be coming to council. It'll be the September 14th RTC for those state mandated occupancies. We have to report each year to our elected officials, and humbled to say we've got another year of 100% for fiscal year 1920.
Great, thank you.
And Board Member Pabi?
Hi. Thank you for your service. I had one or maybe 1.5 question. And the first one is, with the weather and climate getting drier, hotter, are there going to be any change in fire code and building code? And especially, and the other aspect is, with more wildfires, more folks from the fire department are pulled out. So are there plans to are there any plans for those resources when it's scarce for the city?
Sure, both great questions, and I'd love kind of talking about this side of the industry. So in Sunnyvale, so the terminology and out of International Building Code and then California. So Chapter 49 being Wildland Urban Interface Code. So in Sunnyvale city limits in our jurisdiction, we don't have any. From my previous experience down in Redlands, we had about a third of the city. So pretty familiar with it. So as far as a regulator jurisdiction-wise, it's not really, we don't have any tasks to us. We're going out into the hills and working with residents and different properties to make sure that they've cut the vegetation back, that they've given the firefighters every chance to make a defensive stand if they need to. So on that sense, we're not in the regulators game, but one of kind of my visions, and this is where I see a lot of kind of like that collaboration, that mutual aid, to use the term, between city lines of, if let's say a county fire jurisdiction city was to have a wildfire and they needed their civilian staff to go help out, staff kind of behind the scenes and different resources, their construction needs would still go on. They would still need inspections to be done. And that's where I'm working with my colleagues and counterparts to say, hey, if you ever needed to say, Vince, can you loan me any inspectors so my development projects can keep going on? We've kind of got a really high profile incident that I've got to have the rest of my staff out, where I really see us having the opportunity to really help the neighbors that, we might not be in the front lines, but obviously we don't have a chance to pitch in. Shifting to the second question, so it's called statewide mutual aid, and that's where, if you've ever seen the wildfires, you'll see departments from Southern California, 5 engines from Los Angeles, even as far down as San Diego. So it's really one of the things that California truly sets the precedent for the world of, if a fire happens, everyone says, great, here's the resources that I can share. And there's a couple of variables in the equation. Everyone has in essence, your home jurisdiction is always protected. There's a minimum number that you have to have of, I might, for Sunnyvale, we have 6 fire stations, and some of our stations have dual units. So we have, more than 6 apparatus available. What we'll do sometimes in those instances where it might be a major event in the county, or we'll call them county strike team task forces that'll be going out of county, we will spread resources. There's also a process that will call shift personnel, our public safety officers or other jurisdictions, firefighters, that would come back and actually staff extra shifts. So your home base is never left uncovered. You're never compelled to say, great, we've got to send a team down to Santa Barbara County and Sunnyvale is just going to have 1 fire engine. Wouldn't ever come to fruition that way. But it's really a chance to pitch in and help the neighbors. And that's kind of the beauty of when we get to bring the regulations, and it's really kind of that public service of, hey, fire code and firefighting is really the same from Oregon to Mexico border and everywhere in between, much less across state lines sometimes. And you'll get a little bit of the local flavor if they have policies and procedures like that. But it's an opportunity to pitch in, and with the rates currently going up, I definitely see cities like ours having that opportunity to share resources and be part of the solution there. So thanks for that question.
Thank you, Vincent. Moving on to oral communications. A reminder to the public, please raise your digital hand or dial *9 on a telephone if you wish to address the Board of Building Code Appeals on a topic that is not on today's agenda or tonight's agenda. City staff will ask you to unmute your microphone when it is your turn to address the board. Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak under oral communications?
No, Ms. Park, I do not see any members of the public wishing to address the board.
All right, seeing that we have no members of the public indicating a request to speak, we will move on. Public hearings, general business. Since we remain in a virtual, this is selection of the chair and the vice chair. Since we remain in a virtual setting, I will ask the public to use the virtual raise hand button or dial *9 on your telephone to indicate they wish to speak. City staff will ask you to unmute your microphone when it is your turn to address the commission. I will go ahead and open the public hearing. City Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on this item?
No, we have no members wishing to address.
Okay, I
The
will
board.
go ahead and close the public hearing. At this time, I'd like to go over nomination process. We will open nominations for the office of chair, following with nominations for the office of vice chair. Any members may nominate another member, including oneself. No second is necessary. The member shall accept or decline the nomination. This process will be repeated until no further nominations are proposed. Nominations will be voted upon in the order taken. Since we remain in a virtual setting, the Deputy City Clerk will be conducting a random roll call vote for each nomination. Members may vote yes or abstain for each nomination. The member receiving the necessary vote is elected, which is a majority of the members present in voting. Board members, do you have any questions on the process? Okay.
Board Member Shen? Board Member Shen, your audio is not coming through.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that since we are new, there are all new members, and is that possible each one of us to take turn introduce ourselves?
Yes, that's fine. We can do that. Would you like to start?
Okay, I'll start. I'm Shen. This is my second term. I started since 2017, and I'm a mechanical engineer by training, and currently I'm working at NASA Ames Research Center as in the Mission Safety and Assurance Division.
Board Member Kroll, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. My name's Adam Kroll. I'm in my first term, and I work for the Irvine Company. I'm the Senior Manager of Operations, specifically for the retail division. So manage all their real estate for retail here in Northern California.
Thank you. Board Member Jane?
Sure. So I lead a few engineering teams in cybersecurity, precisely in email security, a company called Proofpoint residing in Sunnyvale, and I've been a Sunnyvale resident for the last, 15 years or so. And I'm also part of the board of trustees for the library. So, and this is my first term for both boards at this time.
Thank you. Board Member McNutt?
Hi, my name is Greg McNutt. On a second term for Board of Building Code Appeals. I recently appointed to the Redistricting Commission, so I'll be helping with that too. In high tech, been that forever, worked around leading various teams. Sunnyvale resident on and off for 20 plus years, and like helping and giving back.
Thank you. And Board Member Pobby?
Hi, my name is Sudeshna, and I have been working in the energy, climate, and sustainability area. And building decarbonization has been one of my main focus. I work with universities and incubators, and happy to work with you all.
Thank you. So one final comment before we begin the nomination process. The city will be hosting a board commission's chair and vice chair training on Thursday, August 12th at 6 p.m. The training is not mandatory. So are there any nominations for office of chair? Board Member McNutt?
Yes, thank you. I nominate Member Shen as chair.
Thank you. Are there any nominations for office of chair? Any other nominations?
Ms. Park, can we please have the board member either accept or decline the nomination?
Okay. Board member Shen, do you accept?
Yes, I accept.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the office of chair?
Sorry, one question I forgot. What's the term of the office? Is it 1 year? Or
1 year.
1 year.
So as there are no nominations, no additional nominations, the nominations for the office of chair is now closed. City Clerk, please conduct a roll call vote for the nominations of the office of chair.
Thank you, Ms. Park. For the nomination of Board Member Shen to serve as chair for the Board of Building Code Appeals, Board Member McNutt,
Yes, approved.
Board Member Pobby,
Yes.
Board Member Shen,
Yes.
Board Member Jane,
Yes.
and Board Member Kroll.
Yes.
Thank you. Board Member Shen has been appointed to serve as chair to a 1-year term for the Board of Building Code Appeals. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there, we will now proceed on to office of vice chair. Are there any nominations for the office of vice chair? Board member McNutt?
Thank you. I'll keep it going. Yes, for board member Kroll, nominate for vice chair.
Thank you. Board member Kroll, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the office of vice chair? Thank you. City Clerk, please conduct a roll call of votes for the nomination to the office of vice chair.
Yes, for the nomination of Board Member Kroll to serve as vice chair, Board Member Kroll,
Yes.
Board Member Shen,
Yes.
Board Member Pobby,
Yes.
Board Member McNutt,
Yes.
and Board Member Jane.
Yes.
Thank you. With a 5 vote, Board Member Kroll has been appointed to serve as vice chair to the Board of Building Code Appeals.
Thank you. Congratulations, Board Member Shen and Board Member Kroll. I appreciate it, or we appreciate it. There are no standing items for consideration of potential study issues. The next up is non-agenda items and comments. Board members, since we're remaining in a virtual setting, I'll ask the board members to use the virtual raise hand feature to indicate they wish to speak. Do you have any non-agenda items or comments from the board members? Board member Shen?
Hi. I remember last time, Suzanne, you distributed the changes of the latest building code, the differences, what's new. Is that possible? You can distribute that to the board members so we are familiar with the code requirements.
Yes,
That's California building code. Yes.
Yes, I will draft up a summary and send that out.
Thank you.
Thank you. right. Do we have any other items or comments from the board members? All right, city staff, do you have any non-agenda items or comments? Seeing none, that wraps up the meeting. The meeting is now adjourned at 6:29, and I want to thank everyone for their participation in today's meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, board
Thank
members.
you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.